All right, so I think we have covered quite a lot of areas. And finally, let me ask each one of you to add, in conclusion, what would you say?
Just simply that it's risk and reward. There is a relationship between risk and reward. The higher the risk, the more you get rewarded for, or the other way around, the more you get paid, the more risk you are taking. And at all times, and we keep telling our clients all the time, diversify, diversify, diversify.
Sushan? Yeah.
So on top of diversity, I'm looking for liquidity. I think we want the Sing dollar bond market to continue to grow and flourish. It's an important, as a Singaporean, it's an important source of company funding for Singapore homegrown companies.
Yes.
It will be a shame if this recent spat of defaults leads to the ultimate demise of a Sing dollar bond market.
Yes.
So it'll be great if the various stakeholders, banks, SGX, MAS, CRs can work together to continue to promote, educate, and create a vibrant, transparent, and liquid bond market. That would be my wish.
And surely the response from the regulator to that would be quite robust.
Well, I think absolutely it's in all our interests. In this whole discussion today, one thing that we haven't really talked about, and I'm glad Sushan brought it up, is that a thriving bond market in Singapore will help our companies find alternate sources of funding through different parts of the economic cycle, whether they're large companies, whether they're small companies, SMEs and so on, but there's different elements of risk. So as a platform operator, we continue to work with CRs and other institutions on widening the investor education around it, and we continue to try to create more transparency with the new regulatory regimes in place for bond seasoning and the exam frameworks that could provide more choice on a wider menu of better quality companies, bonds with lower interest rates at smaller ticket sizes so that the investors can spread that $250,000 around to a series of different instruments. Diversification is key. That's something CRS has been promoting and encouraging to retail investors for many years in the equity space.
Yes.
So fundamentally, I think we can't get away from the fact that investors do need to be informed, but they also need to educate themselves and to be comfortable with what kind of risks that they're assuming. And hopefully over time, the menu or the choices available will be wider. Today already, you can buy an ABF bond fund as an exchange-traded fund, and you have full diversification in there. Defaults will happen in any market over any cycles. The Sing dollar market, as we talked about, has 13 issuers, of which 7 were restructured, defaulted over a series of more than 500 issuers in the last few years. But if you're invested in a bond fund, if you're diversified, you're not concentrated in a single sector, then I think over time you will reap the benefits of your informed investments.
Yes, and as a lawyer, dealing with clients who've invested in bonds, your final say?
I think the recent defaults have shown us that there is quite a lot of work to be done to improve the position of bondholders in the event of a bond default. And I think the various stakeholders have to work together such that bondholders are no longer the least organized, the most divided, the most cumbersome to coordinate, and probably the least nimble, right? In a situation where you really do need to react to the situation, and I think the standards in sort of standard bond issues, the standard terms for bond issues, maybe have to be revised so that more thought is given to the default situation, and bondholders, from their perspective, should also start asking, what if there's a default? What sort of position am I in, and what practical steps I can take to protect my interests? And I think one of the issues, really, the burning issues actually is the lack of funding to coordinate and to organize the bondholders. And I guess one of the possibilities we can explore is whether it can become some sort of standard practice for some sort of say, insurance policy to be taken out by the issuer with the trustee as a beneficiary, with a little bit of with a sum of money there to at least kickstart a process in the event of a default. And given the low incidence of defaults, that might be something that insurers may be interested in. And if that could become something quite standard, I think it will be a welcome step.
Yes. Well, we've had a variety of views and we've covered many issues that have been troubling bond investors. One thing that has come through this discussion is that bond investors too need to discharge their responsibility in being educated and in engaging the issuers, the distributors, and when they are in difficulty, they're always welcome to come to SIAS for help. We hope you enjoyed the panel discussion and we'll see you again.